What's going on, guys? I'm Josh. I'm in Lower East Side of New York City. We're shooting street today. To make things a little bit interesting, we're doing this on the 360 camera. Was hoping that I could align some shadows here to contrast them with the road sign we have of this guy over here. Doesn't seem like we have enough foot traffic and we're losing light, so I'm going to move on. 6:30, about 30 minutes until sunset, meaning golden hour is pretty much over. Now, during golden hour, because you have that really bright light and a couple shadows cast around the city, I'm looking for light baths to frame people in because automatically stark composition. Oh, yeah. Had a good reflection using the Chinese sign, and the car's reflection was waiting for the right subject to come through into that corner of the frame. Ideally one wearing yellow and red to match that. Had about 2 minutes before the car left. I don't think it came through. This one shot might have worked, though there are other people in it, so we'll see. This is one of those moments where I'm just so focused on the shot, I have no idea if I actually got anything until I look at my photos later on. Breaking down my camera setup and settings, shooting with the 6D Mark II, 24 to 105 f4 lens. Great range, so if something close happens or far, I know I can capture it. As far as settings go, I'm shooting at 1/200th of a second, just fast enough to capture any sort of movement, someone running perhaps, maybe a little bit slow for that. But I'm trying to minimize my shutter speed to let in maximum light because it's getting a little dark out. So my ISO is already getting kind of high. It's at 2000, which is a lot. And my aperture is at f4, the lowest possible aperture this lens can shoot at. So probably in another 20 or 30 minutes, it'll be too dark for f4. My ISO will be past 3200, the highest I like to push it. Sometimes 6400, but ideally 3200. So I'll then switch to another lens with a faster aperture. I'm also shooting with single point autofocus and high-speed continuous shooting mode, because sometimes for those action shots, I might want to fire off a few to get that perfect frame. Also, back button autofocus is the lifesaver. So I like using the reflection of these cars to frame up this lady. Lady against her building is a medium interesting photo. Adding some reflection elements makes it a little bit more interesting. Lighting is a little bit flat, so I'm not crazy about how it's going to turn out, but definitely worth trying. Could be something okay. Firing up the 50mm 1.8 to maybe catch some bokeh with these overhead lights and fascinating portraits of strangers. How's it going? I feel like you got this king sign right behind you. You got king energy. Hey, how's it going, man? You got a good photo? Here, I'll take your email. There you go. After she almost fell off of her friend the first time, I saw it happening again. I had to be ready for that photo. Sunset's just starting to happen now, which means we're pretty much out of good light. It's getting dark. And now I'm looking for external sources of light to get interesting photos. So things like bright lights of the fair. They're setting up for the Italian festival of San Gennaro in Little Italy right now, which definitely has some potential. So I'm just patrolling back and forth, seeing if I can find anything compelling. Hey, I'm just appreciating all this. Do you mind if I shoot the photo of the booth? I'll send you them if you like them. Thanks, man. What are you doing differently this year to make it better? Hey, can I take a quick photo of you?
Of me?
Yeah.
In front of the game.
You know what I'd love for you to do? I'd love for you to stand right here and throw one of these kind of over your shoulder really quick. And take, one more small step toward me. And can you take one small step back? That's great. Hey man, thank you very much. Have a good one. Hope you get some great weather and good business. Yeah, let me get your email. Cool. Hey, I'm Josh, by the way.
All right, good.
Nice to meet you.
Come bring your girlfriend here. We'll spend some money.
Will do. Hey, can you throw a bag over your shoulder one more time for me? Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, you look great. Thank you. Take it easy. That interaction definitely crossed the line from street photography to street portraiture, which is its own subject, its own great thing I love to do. And oftentimes when you meet friendly people, that's sort of the transition that happens. I'd say it crossed the line as soon as I asked him to pose. Up until then, I was just chatting with him, shooting photos, and I think that still counts as street. At the end of the day, it's not worth getting too caught up on classifications. It's a photo taken on the street, and I dig it.
Yeah, you gotta win the game.
Yeah, how often is that?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
You guys aren't convincing.
Okay. All right, take care.
Have a good one, guys. We found a very cool reflection. We got two panes of glass, this one and this one. And if I shoot through this with the right angle, I can catch a mirror image, so two of each people. It's going to require a bit of luck because there's so many moving elements. You need to just be aligned with each square of light that I'm using here. So I'm shooting quite a bit of photos in hopes of one turning out nicely. Oh, motorcyclist just came through. I think that might have been the one. It's always hard to say, and I never know for sure until I edit, but I think this may have been the photo of the night. I really like how we have each individual square split up by the poles from this booth in between the booth I'm actually photographing, as well as the double reflection, as well as the people walking in between my main subject setting up the booth. So we have multiple layers of people being reflected doubly. It's a fascinating shot. How's it going? I've now been shooting for about an hour and 45 minutes. Street photography isn't always fruitful. I think I've gotten one photo I really like and maybe a handful that are good. But if I walk away from a day with just one good photo, that's an awesome day for me. Street photography does not always yield excellent photos. It requires a lot of patience and can take hours just to get one shot. So to get a couple is, I'd say, decent luck. Also, I want to make note that I did not have a plan for today. I got off in the Lower East Side, I wandered through Chinatown, and I made it to Little Italy. All of this was random, fortuitous moments that just happened to pan out, which is typically how street photography works. So just sort of sniffing things out, following impulse, and we'll talk about this more once I've had the chance to review what I actually shot. I'm going to go eat some pizza. All right. I've just now finished editing, and I hope you guys enjoyed that 360 video. I would love to know your thoughts on if you liked the format, if you liked being inside my head while I was taking street photos. I felt you could see where I was looking, how I was shooting, when I would notice things, and the behavior of my subjects. All of those things felt like they were encapsulated really nicely in this. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make it a series through different neighborhoods in New York. Who knows? A couple other things I want to mention. So first, I want to give you guys a tip I didn't get to mention in this video, and that is the strategy of misdirection. So sometimes your subjects will be onto you. As you may have noticed, there were times at which I was actually staying on my subject for a good while without them noticing me, and every once in a while I'd just shoot in the opposite direction. So they feel like they are in my photo, but not the subject in my photo, and that's a good strategy. But I also went in the exact opposite direction and engaged with a ton of my subjects. So, and a lot of these instances actually made the crossover from street photography to portraiture photography. I also want to say, and this isn't like the hot girl that says she's ugly for compliments, but it kind of is, and that is, there were quite a handful that were genuinely bad images that I'm not proud of, that wouldn't see the light of day, except I did want to include them in this video, just so you get a taste of the shooting process and see which shots are successful, which shots are not. So the Chinatown reflection against the car one, not a successful shot. The girl on the other girl's back, not a successful shot. The lighting was quite blown out. Bunch of instances like this, but hopefully you found them educational and seeing the fun that can be had when you're out shooting street, because it is a lot of crazy, interesting, different interactions with every person. Anyway, subscribe for weekly videos, follow my Instagram for more photos, and I will see you eventually.